This, my dear viewers, is the Google Pixel 6 Pro, and it's been my daily driver phone for the past 6 or so months, and this is my review. For the past 5 years, Google has been making Pixel phones with two main selling points: good software and amazing cameras. And the Google Pixel 6 Pro delivers in both of those cases. And in 2021, Google made a phone that's actually a bona fide flagship. This phone has a glass sandwich design just like you would see from the flagships of Samsung and Huawei and OnePlus. And this phone feels great. The screen is amazing, 120 Hertz. Everything is just great. Google Tensor, it's all here. Google made a phone to compete with the Ultras and Pros of the world. The first part of that flagship status is, of course, the screen. Now, the Google Pixel 5 and, Pixels before it, they had okay screens, especially the Pixel 4 and Pixel 5. They integrated high refresh rate, and with the Pixel 4 XL, you can get that Quad HD resolution. But now, Google is definitely leveled up. This panel is bright, color accurate, and it refreshes 120 times per second for the first time ever on a Pixel, so, that's great. And as you guys know, I'm a huge proponent of high refresh rate. And, as the iPhone 13 Pro added it, the Pixel couldn't go without 120 Hz for another year. And it does have some issues with auto brightness, where it does, randomly, adjust from super low to super bright, even when it didn't need to. So there were issues like that. But overall, this screen is really, really great. Now, for what is under that screen, there is a hole punch selfie camera, which is fine. I mean, it's better than the one in the regular Pixel 6, which does only do 1080p video recording, while this one has a higher megapixel count, up from 8 on the Pixel 6 to 11 on this phone. And it does do 4K video recording. The first time ever on a Pixel, there is also an under-display fingerprint sensor. So back a few months ago, this sensor was hot garbage. And when I mean bad, I mean it was bad. I mean, when I first got this phone, it took me at least 5 tries to even open the phone in the first place, because the fingerprint sensor was just so bad. I mean, you had to have it pinpoint accuracy just to even get it to open. And even if you did that, if you had some condensation, or if your fingers were a little too dry, or if you just touched something else, or any little thing would mess this fingerprint up. But, software is software, and software does its work here. The Pixel 6 Pro's fingerprint sensor is much improved than what it was back in December, and now it's not quite as fast as the OnePlus and Samsung sensors, but it gets there. And as Google has said, it's slower mostly because of the extra security caution, or the extra security measures that the fingerprint sensor has in place. So it is slow as a helpful feature, kind of. Now, the battery life here is, well, what can I say? Kind of great. I mean, Google jammed a 5,000 milliamp hour battery cell into this thing. Again, the biggest ever in a Pixel. And it shows. I mean, I could kill this phone in a day. But that means maxed out brightness. That means playing COD Mobile on it for at least 2 hours. That means doom scrolling TikTok, Instagram, watching YouTube videos all day. And I mean, I've killed it before, but dang, does it take a lot of work. This battery is amazing, and for any normal person, it'll get you through an average day. Now, I can't give as much praise to the charging. Now, when the Pixel 6 Pro first came out, the charging was even worse than it is now. It would like slow down to a crawl, and even though Google sells a 30-watt charger and advertises it to like work well with the Pixel 6, it never actually said the Pixel 6 charges at 30 watts. So, as verified by other independent tech journalists, we know that this phone actually charges at like 22 to 23 watts, 25 if you're lucky, but it has improved through software, and now at least it doesn't take 4 hours to charge the phone from 0 to 100%, so that's cool. But the competitors of OnePlus, Huawei, Vivo, it's just even Oppo, these phones are charging at 25, 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, even 120 watts on the fastest Huawei phones. I mean, Google, it's serviceable, but you could use improvement. Right, so probably the most anticipated feature or upgrades to this phone is the camera. And as you can see, well, first off, that design, this visor is unique, to say the least. It looks like one of those like the thing like one of the X-Men guys wears, like because his like laser eyes won't stop shooting out. I forget the name. I don't watch X-Men. But regardless, this phone's camera sensors have been upgraded far north of whatever Pixels had in the past. I mean, this phone packs a 12 megapixel ultra wide, 48 megapixel, 50 megapixel main shooter, and a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto. And I mean, this is just better than anything else a Pixel's ever had. Bigger and better. The Pixel 5 had a 16 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel main shooter, and that 12 megapixel main shooter had not been upgraded for the past 3 years, since the Pixel 2. 3 generations of Pixels used the exact same main sensor. And now Google has upgraded and they're showing it. I mean, the main sensor takes great photos with amazing processing. That's what we all expect. But what's really interesting to me here is that periscope zoom lens, because we've never even had anything like it on the Pixel. Because we've had telephoto lenses before. The Pixel 4 and 4 XL did have telephoto lenses, but this is on a whole other level. This is 4X. I mean, just wow. Telephoto shots are a little blurry because the processing has not like been fully optimized with this telephoto camera. It is a new lens, you know. It's not going to take as good photos as the S22 or S21 Ultras, because they literally have 2 zoom lenses strapped to the back of those phones. I mean, the fact that like Samsung was like, chuck it on there, I don't care. But like, this was not meant to compete with those phones. I think in terms of camera performance, this is more similar to the Galaxy S22 Plus, which is actually in its price range. This phone starts at $999 and this one starts at $899. And so I think these two cameras are gonna be going, like, they're gonna be the most compared. And I think for me, the S22 Plus has a good camera like array, like hardware wise, but it just can't compete with the Pixel software wise. I mean, the Google camera like software experience is just so great that even compared to the S22 Ultra, I mean, I can really tell a difference in terms of processing on this phone. So to Google, props. I mean, like, processing, software. And I mean, I'd take the Pixel 6 Pro as a still shooter any day over the S22 Ultra and the S22 Plus. Something that probably attributes to this fast and smoothness is that new Google Tensor chip. So, right here, right in this phone, we have a custom built Google Tensor chip. Now, the reason why the Pixel 5 was actually like a really like mid-range phone is because they actually wanted to launch Google Tensor then, but you know, COVID and stuff. So we got Google Tensor this year, or yeah, this year, whatever. I'm filming this in 2022. The Google Tensor chip, I'm not going to bore you with benchmarks, but I have the S22 Plus over here, as you guys know, and I mean, the phone feels just as fast, even faster, mostly because of that software optimization and how much better Pixel UI is compared to One UI. And I mean, yeah, I don't foresee this phone slowing down in the near future. It's fast and smooth now, and you know, with Pixel's great software support, it's going to be fast and smooth years and years down the line. If you want a fast and clean Android experience with great cameras and an overall good phone, the Pixel 6 Pro is not the one you should buy. Funny them saying that, huh? Yeah, so the Pixel 6 Pro is a good phone depending on what you want. Now, if you're cross-shopping with the S21 Plus, for example, then yes, I would pick the Pixel 6 Pro over the S21 Plus. And if you're going for the 22 Ultra, I mean, if you want the S Pen, this does not have it. There's nothing that compares to Samsung's S Pen. If you want an S Pen, you're going to have to go for the 22 Ultra. This cannot satisfy you there. But in terms of everything else, unless you're cross-shopping $1,000 phones, I mean, the Pixel 6 regular is a pretty good deal. I mean, $599 on the Google Store website right now. And, you know, probably with carrier deals to come, you can probably get that phone for a really, really good price. And really the only things you're missing out on are a higher refresh rate, because the Pixel 6 still has a 90 Hz display. And, you know, slightly less resolution as that has 1080p. But that's not, those are two things most people are never going to notice. And, you know, you're also missing out on the telephoto camera. But the battery on the Pixel 6 is surprisingly big. I mean, the Pixel 6 regular has a bigger battery than this S22 Plus. So, I mean, the Pixel 6 looks like the better buy here, unless you want that telephoto lens and you want that better overall camera system, because that is only available on the Pro model. Usually on Pixel phones, that's not the case, and they let you just buy whichever phone you want, normal or XL, and the cameras will be exactly the same as we've had for the past 5 years. But in 2021, they have limited the best camera system to the Pro. So, question is, if you want a telephoto lens, you have to go Pro. If you want a good overall phone, buy the Pixel 6. But if you want the best overall experience Android has to offer, the Pixel 6 Pro is your best bet. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you want me to review next. Peace.